What's up, folks? We should be starting soon. I'm joining Larry in. What's up, Larry?
Brother Isaac Tokman, how are you, man?
Man, I say all the time, I can't complain. There are millions and millions of people doing worse than me. So why should I ever complain?
I hear you, man. I hear you. So what do we have today, man?
Well, as you know, we got some stuff on deck. We got to touch on some of the events that happened during the week. We are supposed to be having a guest. Honorable Mike Jury, the representative for District 1 from Maryland County. So that should be very interesting.
Did you get a chance to see the Liberian compete at the Olympics? I think Emmanuel Matadi was competing. I don't know. I don't know if it happened earlier today or if it's going to be tonight.
I think it's tonight. I'm not 100% sure because I think it's Sunday morning in Japan. And it's like tonight for us. I mean, I had the schedule up earlier on my phone, but I think her name is Ebony Morrison. I want to say congratulations to her. She participated in the 100-meter hurdles and she came sixth in a heat, but because her time was 13 seconds, she qualified for the semifinals. So 24 people moved forward. So you can say out of all the countries and all the participants who qualify for the Olympics, we have one Liberian who's in the top 24. And if she can even approach her personal record, she will be able to be in the final, the top 8. So
I mean, considering we don't set aside money to really build up an Olympic team, that's good. That's good.
It's very positive news. And the other two competitors, Matadi and Fambule, they have a good chance to qualify too, to get to the semifinals. So, and Fambule did win. The guy with the best record in the world, he won him in the NCAA championships. So yes, so Fambule has a shot to medal, to come top 3 if he can also perform at his best level. But track is a kind of sport that you got to be on your game at that particular event. Everything got to be clicking. You got to get out of the blocks. You got to accelerate fast enough. Then you got to get into your move. And sometimes 1 second of delay is enough to cause you to lose a race. So you got to be on point. But
what else is happening out there?
We got some chance. What are the regular stuff that we're gonna deal with, in terms of the political stuff.
Let's dive into it.
Luckily, we're able to capture some of the athletic stuff. Our people are, doing good. I'm trying to find that PowerPoint presentation. I believe you sent it to me through email, right?
Yes, I think you should have it. Yeah. So here's the thing. One of the key things that I spotted this week, was the vaccines Liberia is expected to receive for COVID. So an additional 300,000 vaccines. I don't know if it's already in the country or it was on its way, and that is good. 300,000 vaccines. Still, it's a drop in the bucket, meaning we only have about 1% of the population that's received vaccine so far.
Right.
But that is still something, that is still something. But the major concern is we are hearing that the vaccine, it's only the efficacy, about 6 months? It lasts for about 6 months or so. Then it starts to reduce how potent it is.
Yes.
That means we need some sort of a booster shot after about 6 to 7 months. So the concern is if we can't even get the vaccine, what's the chance of getting booster shots? We can't. Yeah. So that's something.
So I mean, our whole thing would need to find somebody, hopefully one of the authorities at the Ministry of Health or NPhil, to really talk us through what they are thinking and how they are doing these things, right? Because it's like there's no long-term plan, and they're not communicating with the people who are involved. And then on the ground, people are seeing dead bodies at funeral homes.
That's
You know,
sad.
I mean, people were telling me, even like a place in Harbor where people don't, you know, we don't die a lot because we're not a lot. So you don't see a lot of dead bodies at funeral home on a regular basis, 1 year, 2 year, you know, on the weekend and stuff. But when people start
Yeah.
seeing 7 people, 8 people at funeral homes in places like Habel and in Monrovia, they see like 40, 50 people at a funeral home, that's scary to people. So what is the communication around these you know, deaths and everything like that? We're not seeing it. So hopefully, you know, there can be more communication coming because more people need to understand and know what is happening. And being in the darkness about these things is not good for our people. It's not part of the whole education, sensitization, awareness process.
Right.
And just not telling us how the people will be protected. Like you said, if we just do the division, let's say 300, how much? 300, how much thousand?
About 300,000 vaccines.
So
And
300,000. Let's say they had 86,000 the first time, right?
yeah, around 90 something thousand.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's get in 400,000.
Hmm.
And we got 5.2 million people,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
let's see what
I mean,
percentage.
it's still a small percentage. It's still a small percentage.
It's like 7.6%, 7.7. Let's say we get an 8. That's 8% of the population. And you only
Yeah.
protecting them supposedly for 6 months, if you know, because the Delta virus variant is supposed to be able to evade, you know, some of this stuff. And that is very scary. I mean, and just
Yeah.
not to be able to come and articulate what the position is, what the challenges government is facing. At the end of the day, the government say we just don't have it. I think some people will understand, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's
precautions.
a work in progress. It's a work in progress. So also over the past week, the British government has gotten into the act also of putting sanctions, targeted sanctions on African leaders and African business people. That is major because up to this point, we're only hearing about targeted sanctions from the US government. You know, the US government had the SDN, specially designated nationals list, and they were sanctioning a lot of people. The British government got into the act, and I think it was over the past several weeks, they sanctioned the vice president of, what is it? The place, what's his name? The guy
Is it
with the oil man.
Malawi? Wait. Are you talking about Equatorial Guinea?
Equatorial Guinea, Obiang.
Yeah. I think Teodoro Obiang.
Teodoro.
Yes. He's the vice president.
of
He's in line to be president.
He got sanctioned, targeted sanction by the British government. That's big. That's big because it's rare that the US and British government sanctions sitting presidents or vice presidents. It's extremely rare that happens. But
I think they're starting on a new direction, though, don't you think?
Yeah, because this is new with the British government. The British government actually is getting now into sanctioning business people and head of state. So the two guys in South Africa, the two business people in South Africa that were accused of corruption with Jacob Zuma, the two Indian business people.
Yep.
They have been sanctioned by the US government in 2020. They were sanctioned. The British government just took a look at it and sanctioned them as well.
Right. I think there are two brothers, Ajay and Atul Gupta.
Yep. The third one, he's not. I don't think they pick up the third one. But the point is, the British government now is looking not just at government officials to sanction them, they're also looking at business people.
Yeah, but there's what's the guy named from Zimbabwe, the Kudawashi or something, Kudakwashi Taweri. Yeah, he's also under the UK anti-money laundering and corruption sanctions, you know. So we just, you know, just having these people on these lists. I mean, yeah, we don't want our people to be sanctioned, but if they are causing all this corruption, all this undermining of good governance, I think it's important that Big Brother or somebody out there can get to them. You know?
Yeah, the major thing is the British government is starting to sanction people just as well as how the US government is putting them on targeted sanction. And the thing is, a lot of corrupt African business people, they don't leave their money in Africa.
No,
Because
they don't.
if you put your money in an African bank and they know they suspect that money is stolen, they too can steal that money. And what are you going to do? Who are you going to complain to? So these guys take the money overseas. They take it over to the UK. They take it over to Switzerland. They take it over to the US. But now with all these targeted sanctions, it's going to be kind of hard.
Maybe it will help developing Africa, right? Maybe they got to keep the money in Africa and do other things in Africa. They can't travel. They can't go to other places. And, maybe that will help us. I don't know. But, I mean, something has to give. These people cannot continue to be corrupt and just do what they want to do
and get away with it. That's the key.
Get away with it, exactly. So
that's the key.
At some point, somebody got to say, "Look, you'll do this thing right. Please, can you guys take care of your people? Can you guys spend your money in your country?" I mean, they take all these funds and they put it in these foreign banks, and sometimes there's no tracking of these monies, right? And sometimes they die and people lose out completely.
That's what happened with the guy from Nigeria, Abacha. Because recently, over the past, I think it was last year, Nigeria recovered over $1 billion in money that had been stolen since the late 90s from Sani Abacha. The money was actually deposited into banks in an island nation called New Jersey, not the New Jersey in America.
Right.
In Jersey, in Jersey rather, not New Jersey, in Jersey. And it went through, so the FBI got involved. And the FBI gets involved because they have access to all this information, but also the FBI gets involved because they too get a cut of the recovered money. They get a percentage of it.
Yeah, but there's transaction effort involved in that. So,
yeah. But so the asset recovery piece has been going on. There's a lot of companies out there now getting involved in asset recovery. And even one of my men, I'm not going to mention his name. He runs one of the largest law firm in New York. He's right now doing asset recovery in Sierra Leone. Very powerful guy. He's doing asset recovery in Sierra Leone. Because the way
yeah, no, go ahead, finish up.
So real quick, the way how the process works is a lot of these law firms, major law firms, they work with Interpol, they work with FBI, they work with all these agencies. What they sometimes will do is they will put up money up front to the government, and they will tell the government, listen, you get to keep this money. You give us the authority, we will go and recover the assets. If we don't recover the assets, you keep that money. And then they get a percentage of whatever recovered. So if they recover like $1 billion, like what happened with Sani Abacha, they can get to keep about 40% of that money. It's a huge rip.
And they know that money is recoverable, right? Because it's easy to find those monies. It's easy to find the correlation to corruption. And, it's like guaranteed money.
The biggest part in recovering the money is because a lot of the money goes through the Society for Worldwide Interfinancial System, SWIFT, right? Transactions. If you go through SWIFT, you leave a digital footprint. It's hard to cover that digital footprint. Although it is extremely difficult to get SWIFT to turn some of that information in, but a lot of that information is usually somewhere on a computer system somewhere.
Right.
So they first come in, they will review the evidence that you have. If you have prosecuted anyone.
Well, Larry, let's stop 1 second. Let's tell the people who are watching if they can share the link with other people so they can come and understand what we're talking about and start to build a solid platform of people that can be involved in this discussion as well. We appreciate it. And very soon, we'll share our numbers for 1 or 2 people to be able to call in and talk to us on these things.
Yeah, share the link because at some point we're going to get down into the politics of it all. We're going to talk about Cummings. We're going to talk about boycott. We're going to talk about the Weah administration. We're going to talk about 2023. I believe we are about 26 months away from the 2023 election. 26 months is not a very far time, a long time to go. Please bring your folks on. Let's discuss where we are. I'm not a politician. Don't expect me to discuss political.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. He's very political in nature.
I'm not political at all. I'm mostly on the technical side. So if you're going to have a conversation with us, come with your evidence. Don't just come and start talking.
Exactly. And we want you to we want them to fact check us too, right? If we say stuff here that's not correct, feel free to tell us you guys are wrong and this is what it should be and this is how it is, because we want to provide substantive content and want it to be real, factual, that can inform people, that they can go anywhere and say those same things and they can buttress it with research and information.
Speaking of fact checking, over the past week, maybe week and a half, there was a foundation that put up some money for Liberian media, for the media agencies. Money was put up by the media agencies to help them, to train them on how to fact check government officials. Not just fact check government officials, but to fact check news information that is put out. And this was something I believe was supported by the Ministry of Information, which is good. So training the media in Liberia to fact check people, that would stop a lot of the false information that is spreading out there.
Right. Because a lot of people don't know how to research. They don't know how to use tags or keywords that can bring up relevant information related to that, specific issue that they want to talk about. So hopefully that kind of training will really help people, understand how to go out there, search for information, how to challenge information and stuff. Because a lot of people were talking the last time how, some government officials were on Spoon TV and just, giving some loose information that had no factual basis. And that seems to be the standard thing. And then the Spoon TV people themselves, they don't try to push back. They don't try to verify some of the stuff that people say. So, when the people who are hosting just accept what's being said, then people tend to take it to be, the truth. And when it's not. So hopefully we can really look into that.
Yeah, so share it, because we're not just going to come on here and discuss politics. Another thing I want to mention is on the healthcare side. So that's the story about a nurse practitioner, worked over 45 years as a nurse practitioner.
Right.
This lady is retiring to come to Liberia to train nurses. But
Larry, that's something we've been talking about. There are a significant number of highly professional healthcare people, and even in other sectors, who are here. If we had a diaspora program that could attract those people, where we have maybe like a hostel or area that they could stay, even if they're on a 2 to 3 week rotation, a month, 2 months, whatever time they can give. But if we build that in, that those people can come, we can host them, it would improve our healthcare sector a lot, or so much, if we can do that. But
yeah, that's a possibility. Something like that's going to happen soon. I'm hearing in the grapevine there are people putting some plans on paper to do something like that, not just for healthcare, but also for entrepreneurship.
No, also for everything. Everything. Look.
Yeah. So there's something in the works.
There's a lot of
this show.
There's a lot of young people out there with ideas, right? But some of them don't know how to navigate the business register system. Some of them don't know how to write, a business plan. Some of them don't know how to be able to do their marketing and communications. There's so much dormant skills sitting down here and probably in other countries among Liberians and among other people who want to share, but they don't have that platform where they can get people. So that's another thing I want to talk about, Larry. I know I shared the Forum link with you. For those who are listening, it's Forum, FOREIUM.com. We want to start some mentorship with people. We want young people to register, want other people to come and be able to mentor those young people that are registered. So if you're listening, if you're interested in being a part of a collaborative communication platform, go to forum.com and register, FOREIUM.com, and register. And let's see how, if you need mentorship, or even when there, you can create something called your own group site. That means you can create an automatic website for you and on a group, kind of like Facebook, but it's just your group. You can communicate there. You can exchange videos, messages, whatever. It's a decent platform that we are building for all Africans, all people in the diaspora, to be able to have something of their own that they can work with. So, so for some of the local news, is the McGill issue, you think, stay and trending, or will you say it has kind of passed?
I don't think the McGill issue is even relevant today. Um, it has no value whatsoever. I don't think it's trending. It's dead. Bury it, and we can move on.
Okay. What about the
Yeah.
vessel? What about the vessel? The situation?
Well, investigating, I can't think of a single time in point, a single incident where Liberia has conducted an investigation of this, of this magnitude, and brought to book someone, prosecuted someone, and jailed them. So I'm not sure where that investigation is going to lead, but I think it's going to die a slow death as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me mention another thing. So we're here to inform and educate. Another thing, which is something I like to. I'm in the education. I'm an educator as well. Also want to put this out there. But Yale University just partnered with the University of Liberia, which is important, right? Yale University just received $15 million over the past week to develop a healthcare program with the University of Liberia. So I kind of like those things because we know healthcare is so important in Liberia. Healthcare is very, very important because we've seen the infant mortality, we've seen the maternal mortality rates, we've seen somebody, and Liberia is in the top 5 when it comes
malaria,
to
cholera, dysentery,
right.
Everything. We see it.
Yeah, and when people are involved in car accidents in Liberia, Liberia is in the top 3, in fact, in terms of mortality from car accidents. So having people study what's going on in Liberia in the anything in the healthcare system in Liberia is important. It has some value. So Yale University, 15 million coming to Liberia to partner with University of Liberia. That is big. Another thing too is
no. But before you move on that, let's just discuss it a little bit and what it really means. How does it translate into making a difference? Because we've seen some of these projects. There was some of these.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference.
I'm listening.
The difference is a lot of projects, a lot of people who come to Liberia to do projects like this, whether it's in the healthcare, agriculture, they bring the experts in. USAID tends to bring the experts in, or they hire NGOs that bring the experts in, show the people a few things to do, and then they leave. And then after a while, the program dies. This particular project, they're actually coming in, setting up shop, and training people over a period of 5 years. It's a 5-year, 15 million grant. So whosoever on the University of Liberia side that managed to get this done, I tip my hat to them, because that's very important. It's a 5-year program, 15 million, 5-year, that is going to train people and keep them right there in Liberia, so the knowledge stays in Liberia. It's not exported, or it doesn't leave.
We hope it's sustainable. What is the plan after the grant runs out in 5 years? Those are some of the key things that need to be talked about.
That's a good question, because I think the grant is just to get the training up and running, and then the government of Liberia, because it's a government, it's public school, is meant, and it's just to be money in the budget for that.
Right. And
should be able to sustain it.
Hopefully there's some things put in place. What is the commitment of somebody who is trained for 5 years to stay with the program or stay supporting government Liberia, as opposed to probably going up there and going to do something different,
Yeah, go to the private sector.
Hopefully there's some kind of commitment. Yes, private sector, whatever, that those people will stay with government for a certain length of time and be able to help, our people, because healthcare is very, very critical. I was just saying that there have been programs like, Feed the Future and some other stuff. There was one program where they even partner with Cottontown to build a nice agricultural lab up there and stuff. But after that, what happens? The program kind of dies out because the school itself is now focused on sustainability. And then they have that money for only a certain length of time. Once that time reaches, that stuff cuts off. That's the thing about time. It always comes.
It runs out of oxygen. Let me say hello to Melinda Tia. Thanks for joining this program. We welcome you. And anyone out there who wants to give a shout out, want to say hello to us, we're here. Please feel free to ask questions, make suggestions or recommendations. And that's what the weekend wrap up is all about.
Yeah, so it's exciting in terms of the capabilities that are out there and how we can tap into them. And even the opportunity sometimes for Liberians, they don't want to take advantage of it, right? The whole permanent resident thing that's available for people to apply for. Like, why are people not applying like they should?
So the DED program, there's about, according to USCIS, United States Customs and Immigration Services,
Right.
there's roughly 10,000 Liberians or so who qualify to a transition from, not having a status to getting a green card. And this is the second time it's ever happened for Liberians. I think the first time I think it was Reagan who did it. Yeah, I think it was Reagan who did it in the early 80s. Right?
Yes.
Excuse me. So this is the second time. It's rare to have this occasion where you have undocumented aliens moving and transitioning to receiving green card. So according to USCIS, there's roughly 10,000 Liberians who qualify, but so far only about 3,000 or so has really applied. The reason being, the process is so complicated. The documents you need, the cost. This thing is set to expire in 6 months. If people don't apply for it, then we're going to start waiting for Biden to do some executive order. Mm-hmm.
So is there any advocacy on streamlining this process? That was the same thing with some of the PPP and other stuff out there. There's like nearly more than, I think somebody was telling me 30 billion sitting out there that has not been distributed. And that's why like SBA and other people are coming back around to try to ease up some of these restrictions to get that money into the economy. So, how can they ease up this immigration process? Can they just say, if you don't have a green card, if you're Liberian, you can prove you're Liberian, come and just get it? I mean, what can we propose? Because, somebody like John Lloyd, myself, we were the ones who were really pushing for all these, efforts in the very beginning. And we're happy that the other people pick up the torch and they were able to take it to the end, and stick with it. But
the only thing they're asking for right now is an extension, because this particular law that made it possible for Liberians to get this designation, it was buried into the military bill that was passed. So in there, they give Liberia, if you want to get things done in this country, you got to bury it into some kind of bill that Republicans will approve. The Republicans were never going to approve this thing, but it got buried in there as part of the agreement.
But okay, so let's touch on that. Why are the Republicans so anti maybe immigration, but also with a country like Liberia that has supposedly, quote unquote, a special relationship? Why would they be opposed to that?
They're not going to do it. The reason they don't want to do it is because a lot of minorities tend to align with the Democratic Party when it comes time for elections. So it's not in their self-interest to give green card or voting rights to Hispanics, to Africans, to people from, because minorities tend to align with the Democratic Party, even though not a majority, 100%. But yeah, so the Republicans see that as a threat. So they're not going to do it. But if you are a Republican, you wouldn't do it yourself.
Yeah, it's about the numbers, right?
It's about the so it's what's in it for me.
But for me to, I know a lot of Black people or a lot of Liberians, when they come to the U.S., they align with the Democratic Party. Maybe I don't know why the Republicans don't want to do it. I think for us, most of us are actually conservative people, most Liberians. You don't think so?
No, absolutely not. I don't think a majority of Liberians are conservatives. I don't think a majority of Africans are conservatives or African American are conservatives, even though, and not to go too much into the history, but the conservatives or the Republican at one time were actually on the side of minorities until, there was a turning point. But yeah, that's a long conversation.
Larry, we got a caller. He may be calling for something else, but I would just like him to talk a little bit about his program. Hold on 1 second. Hello?
Hey.
Yeah, I have you on. I'm on a show, the weekly wrap up with Isaac and Larry. So there are people listening to you out there. If you're calling for something personal, you can hold that and call me back. But we also want to ask you about your program. What happened today at the 18th Street location, and anything else you can tell us, because you have a couple of different programs out there where you're helping people. You're helping the youths and you're helping our less fortunate people. So just to briefly introduce you, this is Reverend Caleb Doma. He's the founder for Zogos with Care, ZWC, and also a youth group called Youth Connect. He's a friend of mine. We've been friendly since the 70s, so I don't want to put a number on it, but that means we're talking about going close to 50 years, but we've been friends for that long. So, Reverend Doma, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Larry, can you hear him?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay. Oh, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. We have a weekly wrap-up show, and it just happened that you called, so I felt I should talk to Larry for you to get on and just tell us a little bit about what you did with your kids today and some of the other stuff you'll probably be doing tomorrow, stuff like that.
Today, Youth Connect Liberia 18th Street branch had its Independence Day get together.
Okay.
We invited the parents and the children to come and let's talk about what we are doing and the future of what we are doing. And it was just a wonderful time of getting to know each other and the work that we do together.
Okay. So just tell us a little bit about the work you do. What is it? Sports, leadership? What do you do with the kids?
We use sports, especially basketball, to develop our kids through discipline, the teamwork, and just youth development through sports.
Okay.
These kids, it brings about reconciliation and all of that.
Right.
And you will be surprised what all we have done with these kids, how much they are learning. And we are using sports to help keep them in school too.
Okay.
So keep them away from drugs.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was watching the video and you had one or two guests today, and one of the speakers was very insistent on the kids, not starting and messing around with drugs and trying to stay in school. So who do you have there, and what were some of the key messages that they sent to the children?
We really had 3 persons there. Agent of Change was there. They have partnered with us over the time to bring the anti-drugs message. Actually, they don't start the drugs message.
Right.
Honorable Alexander Cummings came and graced the day with us. And he was there telling us thank you for the things that we do with the kids. And he was very impressed that there are people that are sacrificing their time to mentor young people who will become future leaders. The third person that was there was Connie Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up together in Yekepa. She came and she brought the word, and it was the same message. Keep your focus on school, away from the ghetto, and make sure that you allow God to guide you into the future. This is what life is about.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Larry, any questions?
No. I'm good. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate the information.
So really appreciate that. You also do some work with our indigent population, our less fortunate people. Can you share a little bit about that?
Before I go there, Youth Connect is going nationwide.
Okay.
We are in Bond County. We are in Nimba County. We are in Maryland County. August we will be in Grand Bassa and Mount Gibby County too. We need to reach out to all our children to keep them busy, to keep them disciplined, to just keep them encouraged that there's someone out there who thinks about you. And I want to say thanks to the Friends of Liberian Basketball in the U.S. and to Cephas Akelasi, to many other people who have just thought about us and sent stuff for the kids, Aston Wallow, and all of that. We really appreciate it when you do this for us.
Right.
Coming to the other work that I do.
And Paul, you got one or two partners, right? Like another basketball group that's supposed to be kind of working.
Yeah, we've got other partners that have worked with us over the time. Noah Vonlet and his mother have been.
But who is Noah Vonlet? Just so people know, who is Noah Vonlet?
Noah Vonlet is the first Liberian to play in the NBA. His mother, Renee Kume, they have been very instrumental in the work that we do here. They send balls over the years. They send uniforms and all of that. Now we are getting into partnership with Mama Jama as we spread across the country to do tournaments and training and all of that.
Wonderful. Great. So as you were going towards the indigent population, do you have something to say about that?
Yeah. Liberia is at a crossroad when it comes to illicit drugs. The usage and the bringing in of it to Liberia. Today, statistics says that we have about 250,000 of these at-risk youth.
Wow.
Vulnerable, disenfranchised people who live in the ghetto and the streets of Liberia. I want you to look at it this way. It is very scary when I think of national security. In the next 2-3 years, especially the next 2 years, all focus is on elections. And not much will be done with these people. And if, and only if, there's a new government coming in, they will take another 3 years to start to plan and everything. So there's not much that will happen to them in the next 5 years. In all of that, it means the population might grow from 2.5 to about 1.5. I mean, from 250,000 to 1.5 million. It's scary.
Wow. Because
it will mean.
Because those people are having children in the ghettos, right? I mean, it's like
That's the real thing. And not only that, our children that we think that we are sending to school run away from school to go to the ghetto. They are turning fast into these things.
Wow.
And they are having children in the ghetto. In the ghetto, the children that are there, that are 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, they are waiting just to be 9, 10, 11, so they can be carrier from one pusher to another.
Oh, wow.
More than that, young girls that are 13 years old in the ghetto already being pusher will be just pulled over into one of the ghetto rooms and have fun until they get impregnated.
Serious challenge.
Normally what happens is they either take on the first few pregnancy and put their life at risk, or they have a baby who turns out to be one of them. What are we doing?
So
we are engaging.
Yeah, go ahead. You're engaging
these communities, knowing them so that they can trust us with themselves and tell us their stories.
Yeah.
We are doing our best to take out those who are willing to get out now and change their life and trying to rehabilitate them. We got some girls in rehab that are about to go into training. We will teach them life skills so that when their rehab period is over, so that when their training period is over and it's time to reintegrate them with their family, they will have skills to live on. They can be able to use their hands instead of using their bodies to like that. I think what's happening, the other side is we are also trying to see how we can stop and break this cycle. How can we work with these young children in the ghetto who have not yet started? How can we take them from the ghetto so that they can never start, so that they will never have the chance of having the first dose in them? And because just taking the first dose destroy their future. And I think that, I believe their future is tied to my future. And therefore, it is my future that is being destroyed simply because they took in the first set of drugs.
Right.
So we're trying to stop that from the very beginning. That is why we sacrifice ourselves for, and I call myself the missionary to the disenfranchised.
So do you think you are getting enough support, or do you really looking out to see if more people can support you, whether in participating to help you, whether in making contributions? How can people help?
This is the one area that we are really struggling with support. There's two better ways that you can support. You can support us through your time.
Okay.
We got Dr. Catherine Thomas Cooper and Ye Dolo and a few medical personnel who have given up of their time to serve with us. Look, I think this ministry has been so blessed with that kind of volunteerism. They've given up their time and they go with us almost every day. In fact, Catherine runs our medical side voluntarily. We have social workers. We got 4 social workers who have given up of their time. In fact, Adam has been with me from the very beginning. We are having some mental health practitioners that are giving up their time. You can give your time. We need nurses. We need social workers. We need we need accounting. We need whatever profession you have to make this thing.
Because it's a holistic thing, right? There's so many different parts involved in this process, right?
There's so many different. In fact, besides your time, we need your gift. There is nothing we can do. Look, I get called 2 o'clock in the morning. This person is in delivery pain and in so ghetto.
Wow.
And I got to get up, run 2 o'clock in the morning, find that person and take them to hospital. When I get to the hospital, I need to pay their bills. They need to be fed. When the baby comes, in fact, we're getting one baby in the next 2 weeks. One of our girls at the rehab came there pregnant, and in 2 weeks' time, she will be giving birth. So we need your gifts. We need your gifts. We need your time. We need your gift. And sometimes it's just not the gift of money. A lady came to Liberia. She built this house for her mother to stay in, and she didn't know that where they were building this house was surrounded by a ghetto. When she came to see it in May, she went to the house. They were selling drugs all around the place, and she said, "No, I cannot allow my mother to come and live here. We cannot live here. I don't know what we can do with this house." And somebody told her about me. She called me up, said, "Come and see this place. What can you do with it?" Yeah, what can you do with it? We intend to use this building for school for the children of that ghetto. We can keep them there from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock every day, feed them twice, teach them lessons. You see, we need your gift, your monetary gift, to be able to pay these teachers, to be able to feed these kids. So that we need your support. We need your prayers that, there are sometimes you go to these places and it's so discouraging. Things are so discouraging. We need your prayers to be encouraged, to just so that we can get up the next morning, and then take the steps in faith and say, I'm going back to this place. So as for contributions, we need it. Your time, your gifts, your resources. You can always contact us on, from Youth Connect Liberia or Zogos with here, and my telephone number is +231 777 999 111. You can contact me on that number and we can have further discussions.
Okay, so just tell us a little bit about some of the success stories, because you've been doing this for a while. And like you said, some of the babies are born there. You have come across people who have changed. You are able to get them in your rehabilitation center and help them. So just tell us some of the success stories you have had.
Let me start with the girls. We took these girls out of the graveyard on Center Street.
Mm-hmm.
We took them in. As far as I'm concerned, when we were doing those things, I thought they were lying about their ages, because they were looking like they were 50 years old or 45, 50 years old to me. After 3 months with us, and they started to put on flesh and look again like young people. Someone went with me to the rehab and told me, Caleb, if you had not told me that these people were former dope, were addicts in the past, I never would have believed it.
Wow.
I never would have believed it. These girls are about to enter into their time of training now, so that they can join them. Lawrence, our first guy that we ever sent to rehab, Lawrence got reunited with his family. He calls me and says, thank you. The best thing that happened to me is for me to be with my children and my family, especially my children. My daughter goes to call them. Just waiting for her to come from school for me to help her. It has been a blessing. And Lawrence stayed in the ghetto for 15 years. He saw me, he said, Pastor, for a decade and a half, I've been here, eating out of this dirt. I am tired with people insulting me. Please help me out. I want to go to rehab. And from that moment, he turned his back.
Wow. So he was able to make the decision and stick to the decision.
He stuck to the decision. Not many people would do it that way, but he stuck to it. In fact, Lawrence, we're working out that Lawrence will be one of our foremen on the farm, so that he can be able to lead other people who come, and his testimony will be a source of encouragement to other people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Hey, we try to keep pushing and getting on a larger platform to really share the message and be able to, give your information to people out there. There are a whole bunch of people who empathize with this situation, who want to help our people. It's just about how can they help. That's sometimes they don't understand and they don't know. So we keep pushing this envelope all the way, keep moving the needle to the right on improving the lives of our people. And we truly, truly appreciate somebody like you who is, doing a combination, working with the young people and at the same time working with the disadvantaged population. So all we can say is thank you, and we'll continue to work towards helping those people. So I can promise you, I was going to get off the show. I will call you right back, for whatever you are calling about, and then we can talk there. So, and then final.
But the thing is, to all of us, this is right at our step, though, because if we don't work towards ending this type of life now, we will not be able to get out of our fences, and our children will not be able to get out of our fences, because these people will move into our fences and harass us. So it's something that all of us need to put our hands together to do. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on this platform.
Well, it was just timely that you called, and we appreciate it. You know, I got a problem with the word Zogos. I don't like for it to be used, but that's the name of your organization, Zogos We Care. But you're also trying to share with me that you guys are thinking, you're trying to propose to the board to change the name to something different.
Yeah, I'm going to work. I'm working with the board. Every time I get into a meeting, there's a distraction from the name, and I agree. The name can sometimes sound discriminatory. It can also be stigmatizing. Well, if it's distracting other people and all of that, I think we can find a common ground and see how we can, change the name.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you. I was just joined by our local host, Joshua Wright. He runs the program through Brush FM 94.7, Sam's TV, and you know, we on this end. Hopefully, I'll be joining him soon. Where sometimes I can even be in the studio with him. But your work, Joshua, we are talking to Reverend Caleb Doma. I don't know if you ever heard about him. He has two organizations, Youth Connect, which focus on youth development through sports, through music. He forgot that part, I believe, because same musical instruments and stuff. We're both on Carroll High. He plays sports, I play sports, but he was also musically inclined, and I was not. So I used to go play Joga, play car, play Scrabble while he was doing the musical stuff. So you know, he also works with our indigent population. He goes in the ghetto. He ministers to them every Sunday. He goes to different ones. He does rehabilitation for them. He has been able to turn, you know, some women and children around. And then, you know, he also has a farm situation where they are trying to grow food that they can consume and at the same time sell in order to have a sustainable program. So, Reverend Doma, you are doing great. We really appreciate what you're doing. Some of us do wish that we could be there more often to provide the support and help you. But we keep carrying the word around for people to understand. I'll talk to my man Henry Costa. You know, he can get on that show. We have you on directly on the radio in Liberia through 94.7 FM as well. So people can get your message and understand how hard and how challenging it is, but you are sticking with it. You are trying to make a difference, and we really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll call you.
All right.
Joshua, what's going on?
Well, everything is fine, except that we had not a little, but we had a major power outage today in Liberia.
Wow.
Yeah, almost the entire country was shut down. And,
really?
They just came back on like probably 17 to 10 o'clock. They came back on. So,
was there any explanation of what happened? People know what really happened?
I think there was this rumor that they had a little problem on one of their turbines and they're trying to work.
No, actually, two of the turbines are not functional. From what I heard from Front Pitch Africa the other day, they said one got burned and one was messed up. So that's and nobody want to claim responsibility for who you know, damaged such a major asset of the country. And you know, I don't understand how that kind of thing can happen and there's no accountability. So, you know, hopefully people will check. I'm posting a link on the show for people to see where Front Pitch Africa you know, is saying that there's some investigation going on regarding this, the turbines that have been destroyed. So hopefully we know soon, because there are 4 turbines and 2 of them have been destroyed. And folks, if you haven't been out there to the Mount Coffee Hydro, you should go out there. It's a beautiful site. That could be even some kind of little tourism thing. But I've been to Johnsonville a couple of times, and I passed through the hydro to get to Johnsonville. It's very beautiful. The water, the turnover, all of that is beautiful. But for them not to be able to maintain this stuff is very, very, very scary. What it's saying here, the cost of the turbine is not clearly stated, but based on the construction information, each of the 4 units has a construction cost of 75 million. I hope that is not the repair cost, because then that means those 2 things will not be repaired anytime soon. But we are just praying that the way they restore electricity, they can be able to restore that, and we can be able to Joshua, did you drop off intentionally?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. I needed to give myself additional light.
Oh man, it's not easy.
Yeah, so we're live on the radio now.
Okay.
Where's Prof?
Well, Prof was here for an hour. Professor Larry Kennedy was here for an hour, and then Saturday is a busy day for a lot of people, so it takes commitment for us to stick with this and try to do what we can. But we welcome in your radio listeners. Again, you can give the plug 94.7 Brush FM, bringing on the weekly wrap up with Isaac and Larry. Right now, Larry is not present, but one of us something. But since your people were not available at the time, we can touch on some of the stuff you thought were national issues or issues of concern that happened this week, or maybe continue from previous time that we can talk about a little bit.
Well, just this police the over exaggeration of our Liberia National Police when it comes to the carrying out of the COVID-19 protocols. We noticed that just a stone throw away from us here at the chicken factory area, right around the NTA,
right,
a bus driver happens to lose his life due to scuffle with some police guys, and it was a chaotic scene where we had the police chasing off people from the scene using tear gas. Even it went as far.
So after the guy died, they didn't want anybody to be around and see it. They were chasing people from there.
Definitely, there is this issue of mob violence whenever these things happen in Liberia. So I too, I want to applaud them for dispersing the crowd, because that would have been another scene, because the crowd went with that mob violence, that posture of mob violence that they normally carry out when these things happen. So they had to disperse them from there, and then the police arrested their comrade, and there is this investigation that is ongoing. And another one is the noble profession was brought down on its knees yesterday. That is our noble profession, the field of journalism.
Right.
It was brought down. Yeah, it was brought down on its knees yesterday when one of our colleagues, he was disgraced by one of the honorable lawmaker, that is district number 17 lawmaker, when some citizens of his district went.
That's the guy from Broadview era, right?
Yeah, definitely. Henson Kiazulu.
Well, I don't think Kiazulu cares.
Yeah,
I don't think he thinks he'll be re-elected, but go ahead.
Yeah, so there was this protest at his home. The citizens wanted to demand explanation for the way he appropriated his own, the way he expended his own 30K of the 30K they received. So the protest was harsh, and then he allegedly ordered his own talks to arrest whoever they could, and one of our colleagues, in person of Yanti, was arrested and made to sit on the floor. Even after identifying himself as a journalist, he was made to sit on the floor, on the bare ground, and they were bundled up and thrown into custody yesterday by the police based on order from the lawmaker of District 17. So every media outlet had to do a post or to do a comment condemning the act, and that was just something that
And did they
brought a
do
little
it?
bit.
Did people go on the air and actually criticize him for doing that to a journalist? Were they able to do that?
Normally on Saturdays, we don't have the media being tensed with political issues on Saturdays. It's almost like a weekend, and you find every station kind of playing a lay low on all these kind of issues. But
Right.
then the largest came from social media, because there were a lot of posts done on almost every media outlet did a post condemning the act. So people commented under almost all of the posts, and there was serious backlash. So we expect him to reap the benefit of his actions on Monday, beginning Monday onward. We expect him. But as you said earlier on, Henson is this kind of guy that is playing a very laissez-faire behavior when it comes to dealing with his people. There is this rumor that he's trying to throw all his weight back in his traditional county to contest there in the pending election. So
That seems to
there's
be the
not much of
tendency.
him being seen there.
Because yeah,
So I think Snow served as a Johnny Baptist for that particular behavior, where
right,
everyone
right. He's the
trooping
power
from
patrol.
Montserrat going back to their counties.
Mm-hmm. Because I even hear Akaras probably want to go to Cape Mount. Um, uh,
You
I
know,
hear,
I one time did a post that Montserrat should the seat of Montserrat should be given to the Wrights, the Williams, the Thompsons, because those guys will just come, they reap, and at the end of the day, they go back to their counties and leave
oh, what,
Montserrat.
what? Okay, so let's talk. What does that mean for you when you say the Wrights, the Thompsons, and all these Caucasian
So
names? What does that mean?
okay, so we know Montserrat to be like the place we normally refer to as the Congo settlement, or
Okay.
that got, yeah, bulk of the Congo settlements. But there is this issue we found in Montserrat, where the county host. I'm one person that threw all my weight behind Montserrat County, because my father was born in Attington and my mother was born in Bento, and I too was born right here in Montserrat County. So
Okay.
I declared myself not to go and chase behind any traditional county, to go after my birth county and the birth county of my both parents. But then we find that other guys who come in, and after holding seats, all of their developments will be taken outside of Montserrat back to their traditional county. So I want to think that, since you love your beloved county, go there, contest, and probably win there and develop there, because we cannot give you job and out of a sudden you just went away. Even the county meet, the soccer county meet, we see a lot of times the superintendent is the one that really do a lot of the jobs when it comes to supporting our teams. You find out all these guys say that, oh, of course I got seat in Montserrat that I'm representing, but my father is from this place, my mother is from this place, and with that, Montserrat receive a little support financially, and at times it boot us out of the tournament very soon. So since people at times want to show love for their county, that's my own love for my county.
I,
Let it be given back to the Williams.
I can understand that, but when you go back historically, the Williams met other people in this county, right? The people with
The
the
South Moses.
there was a bunch of people here. So it's a melting pot. That's what Montserrat is. But the whole idea, I was just talking to some people, is about how can we educate our voters to understand what are the different characteristics or qualities that is supposed to look at a candidate and assess. It's not only popularity, it's not only empathy. Oh, they may be here a long time, he not struggle. It's about the competence of
Everybody hit the man.
exactly. Those emotional little things that will cause people to vote. So we
Yeah.
gotta look at the competence of the individual. We gotta tell people what competence mean. How is that person position to be able to execute the responsibilities of that position? You know, can they
Definitely.
actually understand lawmaking? Do they understand representation? Do they understand how to hold accountable those corrupt ministry and agencies? Are they themselves an upright person in the society who has integrity and who wants to focus on the right things? So we got to educate our voters on competence. We got to educate them on the qualification, how they assess that, the experience that that person has had in being able to bring that experience from wherever field they have been in into the lawmaking, into the representation, into the oversight process. So all of those things are critical qualities that we need to teach our people, and it takes time for that to happen. But we have to start. Hopefully, we'll be able to do some civics program, through 94.7 FM. There's a whole civic program out there by this group called Civics and Service International. They used to be called Child Steps International before, but they changed their name, but they still carry out all the same functions and everything. And there's hope that through them we'll be able to see some of the changes in our people mindset, in our people approach to elections, and the infusion of qualified, competent, experienced, and caring candidates. You cannot take the drug dealer because he can sell drugs in your community, he can give people one or two change here, and come elect that person. How do they move the development needle? How do they change your community? How do they help you? Those things. Somebody because they're popular, you can't do that. Now, people say, oh, the men love the country. Well, all of us supposed to love the country. It should be a staple for every Liberian to love the country. So it shouldn't be some exception and used as a milestone or some kind of criteria where we be able to, or we say we try to, elect somebody on that basis. But it's important that civic education is extremely important, and hopefully there will be more people picking up on it, more people trying to engage people in the community and educate them about civics. So do you know if the schools have started with civics again? Are they teaching civics now?
Some schools have reintroduced civics, like the Catholic schools. Civics have not been taken from there. Some
Okay.
schools have introduced it again. But then I think we should, there is this time we add up something about let's say just making civics to be broad and just straight to the point, teaching people the basic about how to be a citizen, and what are some of the characteristics it takes for you to be a lawmaker, because the job has been reduced to buying rice and building bridges.
It really has. To get there, you buy rice. Then while you're there, you try to get your money back what you spent to buy rice, or the money you gave out to get elected. So we gotta let people know what representation means, what oversight means, how people should vote, how lawmakers should make the decision. And I hear supposedly now we'll be knowing how lawmakers are voting, because they're supposed to equip the legislature and the Senate, or where the entire legislature, the House and the Senate, with the right machine for them to be able to vote that is visible every time they vote, and not just people put up their hand and say, yeah. So we'll be bringing all these things to our different communities through this program. And that's why we appreciate the partnership with 94.7, that the radio audience out there can be listening to this show as well. So what is happening on the ground? What else is happening?
The guys from Lofa County, it was a terrible scene in Lofa County on Thursday, where citizens launched the no brownie, no peace, or no brownie, no arrest.
Right.
7 persons had to be arrested. 6 male and a female had to be arrested by the police. They locked the administrative seat of Lofa County, demanding that there be a fair and speedy trial in the Brownie Samuka case, and they need his certification.
Okay.
And also, guys there in Nimba County, District 1, started to give an ultimatum when it comes to having their by-election, since their lawmaker ascended to their representative ascended to the Senate. There has been no by-election yet, so they feel that they are not represented at the capital.
Right.
And it's long overdue since December, or even after the case. Let's say the case dragged up to February. So
Mm-hmm.
since February, they got this they got a very serious point, because NEC got this 3 months ultimatum to
Right. They got 90 days to
conduct
put that thing into process.
90 days. Yeah, so it has passed. It's long overdue, and the people of District Number One, Nima County, got no representative as we speak.
Okay.
So they are calling on NEC to conduct their election now, because one of the things they said that all of their aspirants and those expressing interest
Mm-hmm.
have started to back off.
Yeah, you
Have
know,
started
you
to back
want
off.
a good democratic process. Hopefully, NEC can hear the plea and try to see what they can do to fix that. I know sometimes NEC cries about not having money, all of that, but we just had the 2020 elections. I doubt if they had to do a lot of update for that particular district. So they need to see how they can get things going to help those people. But to go back to the situation in Lofa, um, Browning was found guilty by the Supreme Court, right? And the Supreme Court set a standard in terms of what they should pay for him to be able to get back to his position. Have they paid that money? Have they met up with the requirements set by the Supreme Court?
No, not to my knowledge.
So, I mean, at some point, we got to respect the law, you know, and people won't say the witch hunting Browning and went after him, but it was a situation, and Browning is my personal friend. Let nobody, get anything wrong about it. But if the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, found that he misused people's pension, and that is another thing that will be happening. Hopefully, NASCOP is on point and they are not using people, because when these situations come up, it's terrible where people are experiencing losses because the people who have fiduciary control over what they have been entrusted to keep do not execute that mandate properly. So it's very important for citizens and other people to feel secure that whatever they are trusting with national government is being protected. In the case of the military, that was not the case, and the Supreme Court found that against Samuka. I thought the people from Lofa had said they were going to rally together and put the money together and pay for it, but I don't know that they have, and it seems like you telling me that they haven't. So the justification of making those kind of demands, sometimes I don't know what it's based on. I just hope people can, open up their minds and not just focus on an ethnic or on kind of hero worship kind of mindset to be able to demand from government something that shouldn't be demanded.
Yeah, but
And
we got this attitude in Liberia where people own criminals. There is this tradition in Liberia that people own criminals. So if the guy is a member of a particular political party and he's a criminal, that party will say that he's our criminal.
yes,
So that
that
even
is something
counties are owning
always
criminals in Liberia.
that's something I
Trauma,
always speak against. I
criminal,
always
religious
speak
group,
against that.
religious group owning criminal.
Yes, my own a criminal, that criminal, your criminal, that criminal, which is so wrong. We got to hold
Yeah,
fast to the
sure,
principles and make
sure.
sure that when we look at these things, we got to be objective to some extent. We really want to build our country. We cannot see our brother, our cousin, our friends been doing bad things and criminal things and just let it slide. When other people do it, we see a lot of noise about it, and that happens a lot, especially with political candidates. Some candidates or some members of certain parties would do something, and you see other people jumping down their throat, criticizing them, lambasting them, all of that. But once they want a person do it, they are quiet, and you can't be two-faced like that. So we got to keep talking about it. People got to keep working towards being objective on those kind of national issues where it affects not only you and the people in your party, but it affects the entire country. And you got to stand up and be able to say the right thing. So hopefully people can start to wake up. Take country before party, take country before organization, take country before tribe, take country before ethnic group, take country before county. Our country comes first. We should build that love for Liberia and want to do all these things right so that at the end of the day, the Liberia, when we leave the scene, that we're leaving with other people, will be a better Liberia. We always want the next generation to be better than, where we are. And that should be our goal. You want improvement, you want continuous improvement. You want your folks to achieve, your children, your nephew, your nieces, your grandchildren. You want all of them to be better than what you are. And that's why people strive to leave a legacy, to make a difference, to improve things. So hopefully there can be more of that as we, continue to build this country called Liberia. We are so far behind, folks. We are very, very far behind. We need to see how we can, work with different groups that are committed to making a difference. That's the thing. We got to find that critical group of people that are very committed to making a change in Liberia and work with those people. It doesn't have to be government related. It don't have to be presidential related, but it's just about that core group of people that see Liberia, they want a better Liberia, and they are willing to work with people who can produce a better Liberia. So I see, our man Joshua is still having network problems on the ground. We've been here for an hour and change now. It's tough to get callers in because Joshua is not on the line. But we look forward to continuing this. Every Saturday at 5 p.m., we'll be here. We'll be pushing this show. We'll be touching on, like Larry said, a wide range of topics. But we'll definitely try to do a summary of the week activities, provide some perspective on it. Those that we think should be put to rest, we'll put them to rest. Those that we think has some staying power in the news still need to be addressed, like the incident that Joshua was talking about, where the police, one of the police killed the young guy. We have to talk about those things because a lot of investigations just happen and there's no solution to them. We don't move things forward, and we have to change that. So I want to say thank you. This is the weekly wrap-up with Isaac and Larry. We look forward to engaging you next week, Saturday, and just have fun for the rest of the week. Have a wonderful weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday. For those of you who are going to church, have a nice day at church. Thank you.